There's a lot of fuck shit in this world. And I've been to Israel, and the people there are good and normal. But I've also been to the other side with the Palestinians, and the people there are also good and normal. Guess what happens when you ask the actual people? What do you think the problem is? They say, it's the fucking governments. And then you're like, oh, you mean people in the government suck? It's the people in the government that suck. And then you're like, yeah, you know what? Fucking agree with you. Sorry for even asking you. I had to find out though. I had to ask somebody, and that's the answer, Chris. It's the people in the government that suck. That's the answer. Okay, we're gonna. How do we want to do this? Okay, so welcome to book club. I've been thinking about a way to because part of the back end work of turning all these videos live, Chris, is a lot of work. Everything you create goes to private. So what you do is you click the cut button, and it gives you a 59 or 49-second clip. And so if I had 10 phones, that's 10 clips of phone, 14, that's 140 videos. So like every 7 days, basically every Sunday, I should spend my time like going through the accounts to set back to public. Now this is only because of book club, because in book club it's such high value information transmission that it's worth it to create these many clips, unlike Clubhouse, because unfortunately there's so much stupidity that to waste my accounts on that versus just like compressing it into a long form live stream is the only way to do it. But in book club, because it's me and I have value and I am reading, it's and I'm reading really good books. I feel like some of the books that I have never been read by people living today, and I don't think, so, and I'm pretty sure some of them aren't on YouTube. For example, a lot of the JFC Fuller work of Aleister Crowley, that analysis is amazing because unlike Crowley, who's like constantly all original, Fuller explores a lot of the history of philosophy, and because he's like a native English speaker, it's of incredibly high value. Um, so let's read A Star in the West by JFC Fuller. I think you're going to like it. It's very, very smart. I feel like you might really enjoy it. Now, I don't need a sorcerer's apprentice, Chris, but you are doing the best job out of all of the people that I know. That's cool. You're doing great work. Somebody recently told me that I was doing great work, and I didn't know if I believed them or not. But you know what? I've read his work, and he has done great work. Like he has caused a lot of chaos in the political social sphere of Chicago. People hate him. That's a kingly thing, you know. Okay, this is Star in the West. This is only going to go for a couple minutes, probably six. This is page 294. But what is it? Crowley at once, with East and West, answers a higher state of consciousness. That a higher consciousness exists is certain. That it is unknowable is certain, unless indeed we can truly unite it with itself. And that this supreme union is possible, he explains, prevent sense impressions from reaching the sensorium, and there will at least be a better chance of examining the interior. You cannot easily investigate a watch while it is going, nor does the reflection of the sun appear in a lake whose surface is constantly ruffled by wind and rain, by hail and thunderbolt, by the dividing of birds and the falling of rocks. In fact, throughout the whole of Volume 2 of the collected works runs a great river of esoteric mysticism, which in the earlier works was a glittering network of sparkling streams. In time, we find the commandments of Yama and Niyama mentioned, though we must never forget that the conditions of success vary for every individual, and that Crowley might advise one pupil to drink more and another to abstain. He doubts that extreme virtue is a necessary condition for one who is desirous of attaining this state of bliss. Again, that extreme virtue is a necessary condition for one who is desirous of attaining this state of bliss. In the beginning of the Pentecost, descriptions of asana and pranayama. In strange and painful attitude I sat while he was very rude. With my eyes well fixed on my proboscis, I soon absorbed the yogi gnosis. Okay, this is part one. Here's part two. He taught me to steer clear of vices, the giddy waltz, the tuneful aria, those fatal foes of brahmacharya, and said how very mild and nice is one's luck to lop out truth in slices, a chance to chop up cosmic crises. He taught me A, he taught me B, he stopped my bachi and my tea. He taught me Y, he taught me Z, he made strange noises in my head. He taught me that he taught me this. He spoke of knowledge, life, and bliss. He taught me this, he taught me that. He grew me mangoes in his hat. They brought him corn, he made good grist of it. And here, my Christian friend, the gist of it. In science and Buddhism, there is a vivid description of pratyahara. Okay, that's part two. The work is comparable to that of an electrician who should sit for hours with his fingers on a delicately adjusted resistance box and his eye on the spot of light of galvanometer charged with the duty of keeping the spot still, at least that it should never move beyond a certain number of degrees, and of recording the more important details of his experiment. Our work is identical in design, though worked with subtler if less complex means. For the finger on the resistance box we will substitute the will, and its control extends but to the mind. For the eye we substitute the introspective faculty with its keen observation of the most minute disturbance, while the spot of light is the consciousness itself, the central point of the galvanometer scale and predetermined object. And the other figures in the scale are the objects, connected with the primary by order and degree, sometimes obviously, sometimes obscurely, perhaps even untraceably, so that we have no real right to predicate their connection. Dharana is mentioned at some length in Pentecost. Okay, that's part three. Okay, we have now created we've now created 15 clips. And these go straight to the short section on YouTube. They're 49 seconds long. They used to be 5 minutes long. Then they reduced it to 3. Now it's down to 49 seconds because I think people were just spamming the ever-living shit out of YouTube servers. So like, whoa, we're creating way too many videos. Okay, this is Dharana mentioned at some length in Pentecost. Olympus in a nutshell. I have a superior faculty to reasoning, which makes absurd, unthinkable, and wicked, too. A great deal that I know is true. In short, the mind is capable, besides mere ratiocination, of 20 other things as well, the first of which is concentration. Bloom, concentration's midnight flower. After much practice to this end, I gain at last the long-sought power, which you believe you have this hour, but certainly have not, my friend. Keeping close the mind to one thing at a time, suppose the sun. Again this reverence to Ganesh, and at that instant comprehend that past and future tenses vanish. What Fichte comprehends, division, thought, wisdom drop away. I see the absolute identity of the beholder and the vision. Then we come to the advanced stage known as dhyana. In Science and Buddhism, Crowley states, in a certain meditation one day I recorded, I was A, consciousness of external things seen behind after my nose had vanished, B, consciousness that I was not conscious of these things, that A and B were simultaneous. Okay, the new wine. Okay, this is going to be the last part. The silent gulag observers, the real slaves. Or maybe they're the real free ones, right? You just don't know. It doesn't really matter where you are. It's always about your perspective in a way, or your tunnel vision, trying to escape this. What did you call it? A gravity? You sent me some funny meme trying to escape the gravity industrial complex. I can't remember what it said. Okay, this is the last part. I subsequently discovered this peculiar state of consciousness classified in the Abhidhamma, that it is a contradiction in terms I am perfectly aware. To assign any meaning to it is frankly beyond me. But I am certain that such a state once existed, as I am of anything. This is quite true, for on attaining to such an advanced stage of illumination, language rapidly fails us, and we break through the dialectic veil, enter that life which lies behind, solely expressed by means of symbols. What can I know? Asked Kant, as we have already seen. What is knowledge? Asks the yogi or mystic, and his question is the right one of the two. I see a cat, Dr. Johnson says it is a cat. Berkeley says it is a group of sensations. Kankaracharya says it is an illusion, an incarnation. Oh God, according to the hat he has got on and is talking through. Spencer says it is a mode of the unknowable. But none of them seriously doubt the fact that I exist, that a cat exists, that one sees the other. Or Bar Johnson hint, but oh, how dimly, at what I now know to be true, no, not necessarily true, but nearer the truth. Huxley goes deeper in his demolition of Descartes. With him I see a cat, proves something called consciousness exists. He denies the assertion of duality. He has no datum to assert the denial of duality. I have. There the mystics of all lands' endeavor has been to slow the rate of change. Okay, that's part 5. The methods, perfect quietude of body and mind, produced and varied in too often vicious ways. Regularization of the breathing is the best known formula. The results are contemptible, we must admit, but only so because empirical. An unwarranted reverence has overlaid the watchfulness which science would have enjoined, and the result is muck and misery, the wreck of a noble study. But what is the fact upon which all agree? That one fact whose knowledge has been since religion began the all-sufficient passport to the doubtfully desirable company? That I see a cat is not only an unwarranted assumption, but a lie. That the duality of consciousness ceases suddenly. Once the rate of change has been sufficiently slowed down, so that even for a few seconds the relation of subject and object remains impregnable. This state of relationship is either a very high stage of dhyana or samadhi itself. the whole quintessence of the five senses reflecting their full glory on the mirror of their own quiescence. The sun raised to the power of quintillion flaming on the surface of an infinite facetless diamond. Okay, we're just going to continue on. Okay, part 6. There is a lake amid the snows, wherein five glaciers merge and break. Oh, the deep brilliance of the lake, the roar of ice that cracks and goes crashing within the water. Glows the pale pure water, shakes and slides the glittering sun through emerald tides, so that faint ripples of young light laugh on the green. Is there a night so still and cold, a frost so chill, that all the glaciers be still? Yet in its peace no frost arise. Over the mountains steady stand, O Son of glory in the skies. Lone, above, unmoving, brand thy sigil, thy restless might, the abundant imminence of light. Ah! Oh, in the silence, in the dark, in the intangible, unperfumed, in God's abyss abide and mark the mind's magnificence assumed. In the soul's splendor, here is peace. Here earnest of assured release. Here is the formless, all-pervading spirit of the world, rising, fading, into a glory subtler still. Here the intense abode of will closes its gates, and in the hall is solemn sleep of festival. Peace, peace, silence of peace. O visionless abode, cease, cease. Through the dark veil pass on. The veil is rent asunder, the stars pale, the suns vanish, the moon drops. Chorus of the spirit stops, but one note swells. Mightiest souls of bard and music maker, rolls over your loftiest crowns the wheel of that abiding bliss. Life flees down corridors of centuries, pillar by pillar, and is lost. Life after life in wild appeal cries to the master. He remains and thinks not. The polluting tides of sense roll shoreward. Arid plains of wave-swept sea confront me. Nay, looms yet the glory through the gray, and in the darkest hours of youth I yet perceive the essential truth. Know as I know my consciousness, that all divisions hosts confess. A master, for I know and see the absolute identity of the beholder and the vision. In a note to time, Dr. Maudsley explains the state of ecstasy or samadhi as follows. The ecstasy, if attained, signifies such a standing out, quasi-spasmodic, of a special tract of the brain, as if persisted in, involves the risk of a permanent loss of power, almost in the end a paralysis of the other tracks. Like other bad habits, it grows by what it feeds on. It may put the fine and complex coordinated machinery quite out of gear. The ecstatic attains an illumination so called at the expense of sober reason and solid judgment. Crowley's answer to this. Mysticus would not, I think, wish to contest this view, but rather would argue that if this be the case, it is at least a choice between two evils. Sober reason and solid judgment offer no prize more desirable than death after a number of years, less or greater, while ecstasy can, if the facts stated in the dialogue are accepted, give the joys of all these years in a moment. Rich Yak says concerning this state, such a case of monoideism becomes the most noble of hallucinations. The nature of the facts in this case admits a prolonged attention for the moral object, far from being exhausted like objects of sense in one single intuition, extends and increases the longer it is dwelt on. Such an object will express itself in the mind, which is generous to give it persistent attention, under symbols which become more and more intense until the soul, all absorbed in them, is sublimely hallucinated and returns to itself full of eloquence, enthusiasm, and courage. Thus Crowley again writes of this exalted state. That human thought itself expand. Bright sun of knowledge in me rise. Lead me to those exalted skies, to live and love and understand, paying no price, accepting not the giver and the gift of one, with the receiver, O thou Son of thought, of bliss transcending thought. Rise where division dies, absorb in glory of the glowing orb, self and its shadow, and within the charmed space is not possible unto thought. There in their equilibrium they float, how still, how numb. There must they rest, there will they stay, innocent of the judgment day. Remote from cause, effect retires, X slays its dams and sires. There is no hill, there is no pit, they have no mark to hit. It is enough, closed is the sphere, there is no more to hear. They perish not, they do not thrive, they are at rest, alive. This is the peace which passeth all understanding, the conscious communion with the Absolute by paths which lie beyond the dialectical, when the consciousness is full of God and is carried outside itself by a sublime alienation, which cannot be made intelligible in words. Okay, that's all I'm going to read for today right now. We left off on page 302. It's a really good book. Critical Essay Upon the Works of Aleister Crowley, Star in the West by J.F.C. Fuller. He was a World War II hero, military strategist. This is in the Dust Jacket by Eliphas Levi. This will be the last thing I read. If you hold anything in the world more than by reason, truth, and justice, if your will be uncertain and vacillating, either in good or evil, if logic alarm you, or the naked truth make you blush, if you are hurt when accepted errors are assailed, condemn this work straight away. Do not read it. Let it cease to exist for you. But at the same time, do not cry it down as dangerous. Eliphas Levi. Okay, I'm going to end the room. This has been ESL Training. Maybe I should change the room title, actually. It says Wisdom and Philosophy. What's interesting, Chris, is that this will show up in Issa's, profile. I don't know if she'll ever go back to listen to the whole thing, but this was, yeah, I doubt she'll ever go back to listen to it. Nobody ever really will. But anyways, I hope you really enjoyed the reading. I really enjoyed reading it. A lot of great mysticism and wisdom there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for playing the role of the Zen Sorcerer's Apprentice. Chris, the thing I have learned is that, the student ultimately becomes a much more powerful master. So anything you want to do to help the campaign is appreciated. You're doing great work doing these Clubhouse recordings. The Charlie Kirk Day of Murder celebration videos here on Clubhouse, in my opinion, are some of the best work I have filmed on this app. Truly demonic and evil and total projection. From my perspective, doing all these recordings, I want to have the projection show where every time there's a projection, it's like ding, 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 ding. And you're like, okay, you're actually talking about yourself here. And it's like you're confessing to being a psychotic murderer, So it's so funny. Even with Jay Breska, Catch a Con, that is a projection too. Can you catch a con? He's the con, though. And I'm not saying we caught a con because he did donate to us, but in a way, it's like a double entendre becomes a triple, then a quadrental, a quad. I don't know, what is 4 entendres? What is 10 entendres? So this is the last thing I'll say. This horse trainer said to me one day as we were having a cocktail and smoking a joint on a balcony, he said, in the horse racing business, people aren't 2-faced, they're fucking 3-faced, fucking 4-faced, 5-faced. I was like, holy shit. Can you imagine being 5-faced? So that's like the image of Saturn, all these, the faced mask from the Rothschild dinner cocktail parties. Anyways, all right, this has been Aleister Crowley, Poetry, Mysticism, Wisdom, and Philosophy, read by John Kitover, candidate for the 16th District. Go to johnforcongress.com. I hope you enjoyed this powerful neurolinguistic programming this morning. So just want to finish it by saying, take the deepest breath of the day.